what you put in your body changes how you think, how you feel, your clarity, your outlook on life, not to mention weight and degenerative diseases.
Come on out here, Karyn. Karyn, come on out here.
What the heck is this?
Read the packages of what you're ingesting. You know, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. It's that simple.
Karyn says she stays young eating only raw fruits and vegetables. That's all?
Yes, but I didn't just do that overnight.
I'm from the 60s, you know, cigarettes, alcohol, to name a few. I had every allergy known to man, terrible skin. I was tired all the time. And I knew I needed to do something different. I tell people I'm a raw foodist, they always go, oh my God, what do you eat?
Yeah.
And what I've done is I've actually created recipes. Everything that I enjoyed eating in the other world, I've put in this world.
I think Mr. Tongue would be a very happy camper here. This is, you know, and the rest of the body would follow along.
I tried raw for a week. It just drove me crazy.
Because you can't just eat raw. That's a misconception. You can't go from A to Z overnight.
Thank you for saying that. Because I felt like such a failure.
No, no, no. And that's the problem with all diets. People expect to go from A to Z. It's a process.
We can have control. We can make a difference. Yes, we have genetic predispositions, but we don't have to eat our way into the end result.
It's detoxing and cleansing your body minimum 4 times a year, and your body intuitively will lead you to where it's ready to go next. So it's a joyful journey, not, oh, I wish I could have this.
I'm postmenopausal. I've been through menopause with no symptoms whatsoever. I haven't been sick in 27 years, and I'm not special.
How young are you?
I'm 53.
53.
One of the myriad ways food can be cooked is not to cook it at all. And that's an idea that's catching on in the last place you'd expect. Bob Surratt is in Chicago.
Some, like Chicago raw food pioneer Karyn Calabrese, have been into this for a long time.
I guarantee you, when you taste my food, and if you were able to eat it consistently, you would not miss your world.
For more than 20 years, cooked food has not passed Karyn's lips.
Is there any food that you really crave that you can't have anymore on your diet?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
How can something raw outside of sushi really taste good? Well, most people think of raw, they think of salads. They think of spinach and tomato and cucumbers, and actually that would be very difficult to do. I've been a raw foodist over 20 years, and just eating salads, there's no way I could do that.
In Chicago, our first guest is known as the High Priestess of Raw Food. She's an energetic 60-something who brings her message of healthy eating to as many people as possible.
The human body needs salt, it needs fat, and it needs sugar. So I give you lots of salt, fat, and sugar here in my restaurant, but the right kind of salt, fat, and sugar. And what happens is you stop craving the other.
So, Anthony and Emily, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm so happy to be here with you at the Saturday Market in Coconut Grove. And I understand that you are vegans. Both of you, are you vegans?
Yes, I'm vegan.
And
I came vegan 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
And how's it working for you?
It's going great. I feel lighter. I feel better. I haven't been sick the whole 2 years. And I practice yoga, so it helps me be light for that, you know?
Yeah, and so were you sick before then?
Yeah, I used to like experience every now and then. And then after I stopped, especially the milk, I noticed that I didn't get any mucus or anything. So I've been really healthy after that.
Great, that's wonderful. What about you, Emily?
Well, I've been vegan for 2 years also, and ever since I became vegan, I haven't even gone to the doctors because I've just been so healthy from eating whole foods, like mostly just fruits and nuts and just a lot of vegetables. And what you realize is when people are eating meat, you know, it probably causes disease to them, just like eggs and like.
So you like being where you are?
Yeah.
Both of you.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful. I think it's just great that young people. How old are you?
I turn 23 next Friday.
23.
Yeah.
Next Friday, you said?
Yeah, next Friday.
And what about you, Emily?
I'm 17.
17.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a 17. We have a 17-year-old here. How wonderful is that? They're getting younger and younger. Can you hear me okay? They're getting younger and younger.
There once were two sisters, one sweet and one mean. One wanted love, the other to be queen.
No! Stop! No! Stop! When the prince comes riding through here in a few hours, he will not see my peasant stepsister!
His attention. How can I let him know? What can I do? Not to mention, I'm locked in with nowhere to go. When you want to show your prince you care, but you're stuck in a shed, think of something you can share like no one else. Just take a look around you, there's magic everywhere. So let nature's friend show you the way, soon he'll be here. Take some buckwheat and some flax seeds with some sesame and water. Stir them all together and just wait a while. Now spread it all so neatly and place it in the sun. Then just let it harden sweetly there and you've begun. Here's a lovely avocado and some maple syrup too. Slice and mash and mix this good and spread it neatly and you're through. A delicious pomegranate and these lovely figs and berries. Anything you have on hand will do just fine. All raw with nature's flavors, a little touch of sun. Remember, nature has it all, and you'll be done. Now the prince is near, he'll soon be here, so
They flew as fast as their little wings could fly to the prince, who was startled but willing to try. All it took was one bite from this fruity delight for the prince to quickly reply.
Wow, is that avocado in there? That's as sweet as honey. Whoever figured this out? This is the girl I want to marry. Who is she? Where is she? Joe, get away!
He made her a princess, and in return, her food gave them everlasting youth. They outlived everyone in the kingdom through the magic of nature's truth.
now our life is filled with love and light from nature's endless bounty. We're never sick, immune to every evil spell.
So if you want our secret,
there isn't much to tell. So listen to our simple ways.
just follow nature all your days.
Your heart and soul will be ablaze with nature's magic power.
Let's never stop being this way.
They were so healthy and full of laughter, they truly lived happily ever after.
Hello everyone. The inability to establish real intimacy is at the root of all relationship problems that we have today, including the relationship we have with ourselves. Intimacy is knowing and being known for who we really are in all aspects of our lives. You can think of intimacy as me bringing all of who I truly am and you bringing all of who you truly are to the center of the relationship, and both of us being received, accepted, and loved for exactly who we are without needing to fix each other. There's one major problem though. I need to know exactly who I am so I can bring myself to the center of this relationship, and you need to know exactly who you are so you can bring you to the center of this relationship, and none of us really knows who we are. Most of us have no idea who we really are because we have been shamed out of our true selves as children growing up in dysfunctional families in a dysfunctional human society. In order to adapt to our families and society, we have created false selves that are so good at what they do, even we have mistaken them for ourselves. We have a major problem differentiating between our false self and our real self. We know that something feels off about our life, but we don't know what because we have forgotten who we are. Because we have forgotten who we really are, we build our relationships off of everything except intimacy. We've built our relationships based on the fact that we find each other sexy. We've built our relationships based on the fact that we both like football. We've built our relationships based on the fact that he or she would make a good husband or wife. We have built our relationship based on what we do for each other, and so something is missing from our relationships. They feel empty after the initial excitement has worn off. We want someone who will understand how we feel, but we do not understand how we feel. We want trust, but we don't trust ourselves. We want honesty, but we can't be honest with ourselves, when we don't even realize that we are being dishonest with ourselves in the first place. Society has many mantras such as family is everything, nothing that's worth having is easy, pink is for girls, money is the root of evil, etc. These mantras are part of society's programming. They are designed to control our actions. They are designed to override the emotional guidance system because we are convinced that everyone following their own emotional guidance system equals social chaos. This programming works in a very simple and specific way. It tells us from a very young age that what we think we saw we didn't see, what we think we heard we didn't hear, and most importantly, what we felt we didn't feel. Before you feel yourself getting defensive about your childhood, look at this seemingly innocuous and commonplace example. A toddler's walking around, they fall down and they bump their head. Everything inside this child is telling them that they are not okay. The parent picks the child up and says, "You're okay, it's only a little bump." In that moment, not only is the parent invalidating the child's feelings, the child learns that it cannot trust its internal guidance system. After all, I'm feeling like I'm not okay, but Mom is telling me I'm okay, and I shouldn't be feeling this way. In order to fit into our families and into society, we must adapt. We have to become a certain way. For example, a naturally free-spirited, tomboyish girl is born into a prestigious Southern family. If she was to adhere to her own emotional guidance system and stay true to who she is, life would be very hard for her. She would be the disgrace of the family, and her parents' disapproval of her would mean that from her perspective, she would lose their love. So she begins to create a false self that likes pink and loves Jesus and collects dolls and has perfect social manners. She structures her life choices around the values of the family. She structures her relationship choices around the approval of the family. Now, as an adult, inside she's dying, but no one would ever know it. When you ask her who she is, she would tell you that she is a person with good manners and Southern values, who has a doll collection, who loves pink, but loves Jesus. Her life is turned into the very picture of success that her parents and her society had in mind when she was born. She does not know that who she really is not who she is. She does not recognize that her personality is nothing more than an adaptation. If we do not know how we feel, what we want and don't want, what we like and don't like, we cannot actually be present in our relationships because it's not us that's present in our relationships. It's our false self. Our only hope of finding intimacy and having good relationships and living a life that we enjoy and feeling free and not dying inside every day is to let our false selves go. Our only hope is to find out who we really are. Most of us have been too afraid to question ourselves and everything we think we know about ourselves and the world we live in, because we've been so convinced that there's an unbearable consequence if we find out that the truth is different than other people wanted us to be. Most of us have not taken the risk to be ourselves. We have not seen that being ourselves completely is worth any consequence, even losing our families and friends. This is a crossroads for many of us. It is a crossroads we must come to when we have committed to spiritual practice or even just to improving our lives. Do we keep up the facade, or do we find out who we really are and admit to it? For the sake of self-discovery, I want you to start a practice. I want you to pretend that you have just come out of a coma and that this is the first day of your life. You have no idea who you are. You have no idea what you believe. You have no idea what you like and don't like. Now reassess your life. When you take a bite of food, do you like that food? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? When you pick out your clothes, how do they make you feel? If this was your first day on earth and you had no preconceived notion about other people's perspective about those clothes, what would you think of those clothes? When you spend time with that person, do you like them? It doesn't matter if they're your family and you've always thought that family is forever. What do you like about this person? What don't you like? When you look at yourself in the mirror, who are you really? Are you an artist? It doesn't matter if you've painted a picture or danced a dance in your life. Are you a mother? Doesn't matter if you are actually a mother or if you have no children at all. Are you a mother? What do you believe about this universe or God? Throw away your religion and your beliefs for a minute. Doesn't matter if you have said, I'm Christian or I'm Islamic all your life. What do you believe about this universe or God? It's okay if the answer to these questions is, I don't know. I don't know is 1,000,000 times better than pretending that you know. It's better because saying I don't know suggests an openness to knowing the truth of who you are. Your job is to explore. Your job is to reassess the old. And your job, most especially, is to try new things. Cut other people out of the equation. Pay attention to how you feel when you think those thoughts, when you say those words, when you do those things. You may think that you have liked something all your life only to discover that you hate that thing. You may have thought you hated something all your life to discover that you do like that thing. You may have thought you wanted something all your life to discover you don't want it at all. You may discover you want things you never even knew you wanted. You may discover that you don't like someone you thought you liked. The point is, you have been so afraid of the consequence of admitting to who you truly are and how you truly feel, that you have created a false self. You've maintained this false self with conviction, and now is the time to replace it with who you really are. We need to be willing to question absolutely everything we think we know about ourselves in order to really know ourselves. And it will feel groundless and angerless in the beginning. It will feel like we are losing our life vest. But this time spent in the unsteady unknown of the ocean of our lives is worth the experience of landing squarely in and of our true selves. No more torture, no more pretending, no more trying to be perfect, no more being loved for something that we aren't, no more meaninglessness, no more emptiness. It doesn't matter whether you're 10 years old or 20 years old or 40 years old or 80 years old. Now is the time to be brave. It's the time to be brave enough to admit that you may not actually know anything about who you truly are. Now is the time to be brave enough to question everything you think you know about yourself. Now is the time to find out who you really are and to expose who you really are to the world. Have a good week.
So, how are you feeling, Victoria?
I feel great.
Isn't it fun?
It
How
is
simple
fun.
is this?
I know, I had no idea.
Right? And you
Yeah.
were at Optimal Health and you didn't make Rejuvelite there, right?
No.
They have other classes, but they don't have a Rejuvelite making class.
Yeah.
Okay. Or maybe you don't have the time. Maybe you're too busy detoxing, feeling not so well. So it's great. You can always go to this YouTube and make your own Rejuvelite. So we're going to make one more drink out of it now. We have our plain, we have our ginger, and this is my favorite. I made this up probably, I opened this restaurant, this particular location, about 12, 13 years ago. And so I put this on the menu then, and it is my favorite. I call it a mint julep.
Ooh.
So we're going to start with our basic Rejuvelite again, and we'll put approximately 2 cups because we're going to water it down.
Okay.
Let's make it 3 cups because you're going to love this. And we'll just add some water. You know the beauty of a raw food kitchen? There are no mistakes. If you diluted it too much, you just add more of the Rejuvelite. If it's too strong, add more of the water. You know, you don't have to be locked into anything in a raw kitchen. That's what I love about it. Look at how easy this is. Okay, we've got our Rejuvelite. We're going to take fresh mint, and I'm very proud to say we're growing mint in my garden this year. Although I don't think this is from there, but we're growing mint in the garden. And we're going to pull the leaves off, okay? We don't want the stem, it's kind of bitter. So we're going to pull the leaves off. And let's put them in here to measure, because I think we're going to use probably about 2 cups of leaves, really packed in there strong, thick. So we could probably use almost all of this for a nice strong mint flavor. That's 1 cup. I love the smell of fresh mint.
Yeah, it smells so good.
All right. We're going to put lots of fresh mint in there, and we will have all of these recipes. Remember, the plain Rejuvelite menu recipe is in Soak Your Nuts, and it's in most of Dr. Wigmore's books. save this one to decorate our glass with in the end. So we'll take the rest of this. So it's approximately 2 cups of mint, but once again, make it as strong or as light as you want. It looks like we're going to end up with 1 cup tightly packed in there. So I'll tell you what, let's start blending it. Let's put in like our couple of tablespoons of honey again, or once again, any sweetener you choose. I'll keep pulling these off for you. How simple is this? And you know, get your 2-year-old or your 16-year-old or somebody in the kitchen to help you pull the mint leaves off. Or your 12-year-old is over here helping us today. Or how old are you? 12, yeah. So get your 12-year-old. He's our other camera assistant here. I'm so blessed to have Malik Productions helping me with this whole process. He is a phenomenal young man, he and his brother. Okay, do we have our honey in there?
We do.
All right, let's blend it up and see what we have this time. And you know what I would do with the stems? I would take them and kind of break them up and crush them, pour hot water, and make a light mint tea with them. All right, let's now what you might want to do with the mint julep that we didn't do is you might want to add some ice cubes to it. If you're putting lots of mint, and that'll give it a nice crushed ice kind of feeling to it, like almost a smoothie. You just kind of push this together.
Push it in.
Okay. And let's try our mint julep. Boy, you can just smell it. It smells so delicious.
It smells amazing.
The fragrance is going throughout the whole kitchen. You're going to get a lot of froth in the beginning, so you might want, almost like champagne, you pour a little, let that settle, and then put more in there. And let's try our mint julep.
All right. Cheers.
And thank you, Victoria. What an assistant.
Thank you for having me. I had fun.
I'd probably add a little more sugar to it, but it's nice and minty. Okay, and so
wow, it's really good.
I'll make it just a little sweeter. Probably some ice cubes to make it nice and cold. Blend that up real quick.
Okay.
If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me or send me messages or ask me questions how it's working. Facebook me. Let's pour some more in here. And you know what I forgot to mention? Probably all of this costs maybe about, this is probably 3 to 5 cents a glass to make. This is probably maybe 15 cents to make, and maybe this is 20 cents.
Wow.
And we have a whole pitcher full of it. So how easy was that? So this is Rejuvelate Making 101 at Karyn's Kitchen. Thank you, Victoria, for coming to spend the time with me. Don't forget to let me know how your Rejuvelate is coming out. Facebook me, email me, let me know what's going on in your lives, because you are important to me, and I love having you in Karyn's care with me. And remember, if you don't take care of this, your body, the most magnificent machine you'll ever be given, where are you going to live? See you next time. Oh, wait. Oh, we're going to take the sediment from the Rejuvelate, and we're going to make crackers next time. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
If you're unhappy with your life, especially in the money department, you've got to hear my story. You see, years ago, I was unhappy with my life. I mean, really unhappy with my job, my money situation. I gave it all away. Literally, everything I had, I gave it away. I went out to the desert just like this. I took my clothes off and I literally had my 40 days in the desert. I didn't even know if I was going to come back alive. I didn't care, because what I was doing just wasn't working. And what I learned out there when I was by myself and nothing but the truth of nature changed my life forever. I went from being naked in the desert to driving a Ferrari within 90 days. I even got $2.5 million to make my own motion picture. So this is my next thing to you guys. The prosperity secret. The truth is universal, and it's going to change your life forever.
My very first home ever had no running water, it had no electricity, it had no phone. Often we had little, sometimes no food. Twice we were homeless. My second home was a converted chicken coop.
I started with less than nothing. I started $10,000, over $10,000 in debt.
I started as a grocery checker in a grocery store.
I ended up growing up in foster homes. And I think I learned real early that anything that I was going to achieve had to come from me.
I started with nothing. I started from a very humble home. My family didn't have money.
It's when you have nothing that you can get anything. If things are being taken away from you, it's probably because they've been holding you back. When you have nothing left to lose, you have no more fear. And when you have no more fear, the world is yours.
My best ideas ever in the financial arenas have always come in my lowest moments.
Feels like you have to hit bottom with it, get burned right out.
I had times when I thought, this is it. We're out of business. We're never going to make it to the next day.
I knew some people, their companies were going to bottom out if we didn't make a change.
What's really important to realize is that the economy, or luck, or skill, or talent has nothing to do with it. I had all the talent in the world, but that's not what did it for me.
The hand is not won by the person who has dealt the best cards. The hand is always won by the person who plays their hand the best.
You have to commit. You can't sit on the sidelines, you can't sit on the fence, you can't wait for somebody else to go first.
Anyone can start with nothing and rise to live their dreams, despite what the economy's doing or what anybody says. If people say it can't be done, say, watch me.
In a short period of time, I started a company that went from 3 to 10 employees to hundreds to ultimately thousands of employees.
And then those people report back to me, they made $25 million in 2 weeks. It's like a miracle.
It just snowballed.
And kept doing bigger and bigger and bigger.
We were working for DreamWorks, Sony, NBC.
I represented a lot of Fortune 500 companies.
I've made it all on my own. I work about 5 hours a week. This is my home office, and I'm living my dream.
I live in a 17,000 square foot palace. I have homes on the beaches of the world. I fly all over the world in private jets. I don't tell you this to impress you with me. I tell you this because I am an ordinary man. And if I can do this, you can do all of this and more, and I want you to. People ask me, how do you live this lifestyle? How were you able to go from poor farm boy to self-made multimillionaire? And it's got nothing to do with my talents. It's got nothing to do with my education. I'm a high school dropout.
And this is the thing. You might say, well, gosh, he had something going for him. He was smarter than the other guy.
So many people you talk to, they hate what they're doing.
Stop waiting for other people to come through for you. The only one who's ever gonna come through for you, ultimately, is you.
So many people are motivated by fear. The fear of failure, the fear of the unknown.
The biggest challenge is, in order for things to change, you must change.
If you go after money, relationships, or anything, you're just gonna push it away. It's got to come to you.
They want some magic pill. They want some waving of the hands over their head, some miracle. There is no miracle. The miracle is you create it.
I think the biggest thing for people to realize is that the economy doesn't have to be your economy. You don't have to participate in any recession or depression. The greatest wealth ever accumulated by any individuals is always accumulated in the greatest crisis.
The money is really made during the bad times.
I set out with nothing, and I built everything I had from absolute scratch and not having anything to start with.
Most people, I think, spend their lifetime downgrading their desires so that they come in alignment with what they have.
Working for people is really a pain in the ass.
I was compelled that there was more to life.
You have a choice at that point. You can step off and take the action, or you can stay on the couch.
I needed freedom.
Don't waste your dream. Don't waste one more minute. Every day that goes by will never happen again.
The only money that's worth anything to anybody, as far as I'm concerned, is the money that you've earned yourself.
Once you achieve the ability to have something, it becomes less important to you.
After a while, you realize you don't need those fancy things to be happy. But it's nice to know you can have them whenever you want. Now that's freedom.
So I think the bigger challenge is that we reframe our beliefs about wealth and what money is and about what abundance is, and realize that the greatest gift that I have in my wealth is not my mansion, it's not my car, it's not my jet.
It's what you do and what you contribute.
It's not about money, and it's not about wealth that makes you good or bad. It's what you do with that money.
The greatest gift out of all of that was being able to see how I could give even more.
We're all just trustees for the wealth. You know, do we really own anything in this world? We come in naked, we're going to leave naked.
The old sayings teach you this, right?
So, you know, you've got to welcome the sustainability and the abundance into your life so that you can make a difference in this world.
This is a new world. A new way of doing things.
I never thought I couldn't.
The laws of success apply to everything, not just money. And this is the most exciting realization I ever had. Once you learn this, it will change your life forever.
Oh, they're all looking for this elaborate and difficult formula. It isn't difficult.
It seems so clear to me, and I don't understand why it isn't clear to other people.
I was looking around going, well, I'm sure everybody else has already thought of this.
We'd all be sitting around waiting for, oh, it can't be that easy. Like you said, somebody's already thought of that. Someone's already tried that. It just can't be that easy. It is that easy.
Anyone can do that. People almost resented giving me the money because I made it look too easy.
It will change your life.
And remember, the best ideas for creating wealth are always ideas that help enrich other people.
And you just know inside, yeah, I'm supposed to do this.
4 to 6 hours a week is about all I like to put into the work part.
That's your work week?
Yes.
6 hours?
I could tell you candidly that I've lived a life that most people wouldn't live in several lifetimes.
I just wanted to be comfortable, and I got more comfortable than I thought I could ever be.
You know, I love Ferraris. I think they're artwork on wheels. But now it doesn't seem that important to me. Knowing that I could have it, I don't really even want it.
I think this idea that all wealthy people are bad or that all wealthy people are selfish is kind of ludicrous.
What are you worth?
Don't die with your music still in you.
My desire for you would be that you recognize that you can have all the money, all the wealth, all the prosperity, all the abundance that you want to have, and you can still be a really great person. You can still take care of the environment. You can still live a very healthy lifestyle, and you can still have a ton of fun. Not to mention the fact that it's a lot easier to get important things done when you have the resources to make them happen.
That's the thing. If you're bettering the world, if you're contributing, if you're helping people, that's true affluence.
When you leave this world, what is in your spiritual bank account? What's in your spiritual bank account is everything that you have given. But you can't give anything if you don't have anything.
Live that dream. I've spent my whole life doing that. I don't know how to do it any other way. It's not hard.
Do you want the power to really make a difference in the world?
Hi, it's Mimi, and it's Thursday, and I'm in my kitchen. It's been such a beautiful day today, and anytime the weather is just perfect, I always think of how much I love salads and how I love to eat salads. In fact, all year round, salads are really good. Today I wanted to make something from my book, and I think it's on page 123. It's called the Chop Chop Salad, and I love it. There's a lot of little chopping to do, but once you finish it and you put this tahini dressing on it, it's so good, and it lasts in the refrigerator a couple days. So I'm going to show you how to plate it and how to chop it. So let me start with this beautiful bowl I have, and you can use an assortment of things. I have 2-color carrots, I have zucchini, I have a yellow zucchini, I have some fennel, I have some string beans, some cabbage here, some red cabbage, some broccoli, and a turnip. And also a parsnip is very good to have. So I'm going to show you how to chop this very small, and then we'll make the dressing. I think you're really going to like this. I think the family really likes this thing. All right, so here's my knife, and I learned some really good knife skills. And one is that if you hold your knife right here at the base of the knife and have these fingers around here, you have great control of your knife. Not just here in your handle like most people chop, but this way, because this is really going to help you in this tiny chopping that we have. So first we're going to cut the zucchini in half, and then we're going to lay it down flat. You always want a flat base to work with. And then we're going to make some cuts in here. We're going to make some cuts so we can have some ribbons batons like this. This is a nice width to make. And then we're going to take that piece like this, cut it in some small pieces. You've got all that done right there, and then we're going to chop them into nice little squares. These are pretty small, But you want to have a nice bite when you take the bite of all these little things. They're all going to be cut about the same size. So you have a really nice feeling in your mouth. All right, see these small pieces right here? These are all very tiny, and when this gets all chopped together, you're going to see what a beautiful salad this is going to make. So let me finish up this chopping here for you. Okay, so now we have all these really beautiful vegetables chopped up really fine. I'm just finishing up the carrots. Look at all these vitamins. You can see how alive this is, right? It's fantastic, all this color. This is so healthy for you, and it's going to be so delicious. You're going to love it. You know, I only used a small amount to get all of this. This is enough for 2 people and maybe even 3. It was a half a zucchini. You saw what I had in the bowl, a half a zucchini, a couple of carrots. I haven't even finished chopping that. And now we're going to lift this up. By the way, if you're scraping your board with your knife, make sure you use the back of it, not the blade, because you don't want to dull that down. So make sure you use the back of your knife. It's much better. And now if you don't have a pastry scraper, I suggest you get one. This is like one of the best things to lift up your vegetables. So this is a really great thing. Once you chop something up on your board, all you do is have to scrape it up like a little shovel. So we're going to mix this all together, and I'm going to show you how to mix the dressing. By the way, all of this recipe will be on my website, youngonrawfood.com, and that's where I actually post if you don't have my book, that's where I'll actually post the whole recipe, so you don't have to worry about writing anything down right now. I'll make sure that you have everything. And you can decide how many people you're going to serve. If you want a lot of it, you'll want to make a whole zucchini, and because this is quite a bit right here. This is a nice amount right in here. Look at that. This is really nice, even when we get the dressing on this. I didn't have asparagus because I ate them the other night, but I normally put asparagus in here. And then we're going to have a little topping. I took some herbs from the garden. I have some mint here that we're going to top it with and chop up. I have some dill that we're going to chop up. And I think that's the only thing from the garden. I have some parsley, but I'm going to make the dressing now. So let me put this aside and let me bring on some of the things here that I'm going to use for the dressing. We have a little, just a small amount of cashews. This is a quarter of a cup. We have, I'm probably going to use a little water in here. This is all going to go in the blender. I have lemon juice. You'll get the measurements later for that. I have a little tamari. I like gluten-free tamari. A little apple cider vinegar. We have some garlic, some salt and pepper, of course, that brings out the flavor. A little of this pink Himalayan salt. We have some sweetener here, and I've been very fond recently of maple syrup, but you certainly can use anything you want. You can use agave or any other kind of sweetener, but I'm really loving maple syrup a lot. There's some olive oil here, and then we have some tahini. And you can buy tahini in a jar. It's really delicious. There's a few companies. You get them online if they don't have them at your health food store. But you can find this almost anywhere. The tahini, it's raw and organic. And then I have some parsley. So there's things from the garden and there's things I bought from the store. So here we're going to put all this in. Just kind of get it all in together. Let's do the garlic first. Let's put the nuts. Let's put the hard things down at the bottom. They'll chop up better. I think we'll throw the tahini in at the bottom. And this is about half a cup of tahini. And of course you want to taste everything to make sure it's to your liking. This is kind of what I like. But when I'm making dressings, I always have to taste them again and add a little bit more salt, pepper, whatever I think it needs. But this is a really easy way to do it. If you have all your things in place like this, it's called mise en place. And here is everything right there, so you can put everything into your salad dressing without having to even think about it. You just measure it all out first, and then it's all here in a little bowl. So I'm going by my original measurements in the recipe book, and hopefully that will be right. We'll see. I'm going to throw in a little of this parsley right here. There we go. And now we're going to blend this up. Pardon the noise. Let me see how this looks here. need a little more than nuts up here, but it looks really quite delicious. And it smells great. I'm going to take a little taste of it here, if you don't mind. Well, I'd say that's kind of perfect. That's really good. A little salt, pepper. We're going to run it a little more. And even though I use dill on the outside, I think I'm going to throw a little dill inside. I just love fresh dill. I think it's one of the really great herbs. But we're going to use some on the outside. So. Now, if you want to make this a little thinner, I want to see what the texture is on here. It could be a little thinner. It's very thick. I don't want to thin it much, but to do that, I'm just going to put in a little water. Maybe 2 teaspoons full. I think that's all it's going to need. But you use your own judgment on what you like. Tastes great just the way it is, but I would really like it to blend in a little better. This is a really quick salad. It really is very easy. The only part that takes a little time is the chopping, but I don't know, I love chopping. It's kind of fun. So, okay, let me move all this aside. This is how nice it is when you have all these little bowls and you have little things that you can mix with and then just carry them all off somewhere. So that's a great thing to have in your kitchen, is little bowls that you can put all your herbs in. So I'm going to chop a little mint because I know I love mint and I love this dill. So let's get a little of this chopped right here. I'm going to mix them in. And I'm going to use a little as a garnish on top. Back of the knife, throw that in. Let's just use a little bit of this dill. A little bit of that. I'm going to save a little piece for the top. For plating. Okay. Now this makes a nice amount of dressing in here. Just really nice. Might be too much for this, but that's up to you. You can serve it on the side when you serve it to company, or you can put it on the salad yourself, whichever you like. Let's see if we put enough in. I like to mix it and just test that out. Look at that. I get the smell. If you could just smell this, it's so fantastic. This is going to be my dinner tonight. I love this so much I could probably eat this whole bowl myself. So, but I won't. I'll share it with Mike. All right, here we go. Now I'm going to plate this for you. You can use a big plate. I happen to like big plates. You can just put it on the plate long like a snake, or you can put it in one of these rounds. Either way is fine, or a little of both. So let's see what that's like. I'm going to put this in here. You can always add more salt and pepper and taste it, but I already know this tastes really good. I'm going to put this in this ring mold. And I'm also going to drizzle some off to the side. Let's clean that up. It's always not white. Everything shows up so nice on a white plate. And when this is chilled, it's just an amazing salad. So let's do that. See if this holds up. That looks really nice, huh? Put a little piece of dill on top of this. Let's find a nice little piece that we like here. Put a couple little pieces around on the plate. Make sure, even when you're fixing food for yourself, that you make everything very pretty. That's really important. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, let me get a spoon for this. I think I'm going to add a little sauce around the plate because it's so good. A little sauce and a little piece of mint, and voila, we have a beautiful meal. Let's see, I think I like that right there. What do you think? Does that look good to you? Would you eat this if someone put this in front of you? It looks great, doesn't it? Oh, one little thing. Just so you know, perfection's the deal here. I'm going to wipe this little plate up right there with that little bit I spilled of that, so the plate looks really nice. There we go. There's your food, there's a little decoration, and there's some extra sauce if anybody likes, a little dressing. And here's our chop salad from Live Raw on page 123. And I have so many more salads to show you. They're easy, they're quick, everybody loves them, whether you eat more after this or you just have this for your meal. Pretty satisfying. Yummy. All right, I think I'm gonna dig in myself. And I'll see you next week. In the meantime, let me know if you fix this salad. Drop me a note. That was good. I love you. You know I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Okay, Lamoya, it's so wonderful. I saw you last week, of course, but it's always great to see my darling Lamoya with her beautiful, I used to call them my little raw family. It's just wonderful. You've been here at the market for how long?
8 years.
8 years. I tell you, she has her following because the owners, of course, have a big to-do as far as food goes, but you have your following, right?
I do. It takes time, you know, but I have a repeated customer, you know, basis, so I'm glad.
And that's a wonderful thing. Show us some of the stuff that you have here. I mean, we're getting you here at sort of the end of everything, but tell us what you have here in these 3 containers.
It's my assorted platter. It's my spicy cabbage slaw, sweet plantains, Caribbean style, beet seaweed slaw, curried cashew, which is everybody's favorite, pecan picadillo, and a little spinach on top. And in this platter is my zucchini lasagna.
This is zucchini lasagna. Let's just pull that open.
And so instead of pasta, it's substituted with zucchini, pine nuts, basil, garlic, olive oil, sea salt.
Okay. And so that lasagna, that's a big hit, I'll bet you.
That's a big hit. That's the last piece for the day.
And we have a sandwich here, do we not?
It's a sandwich made out of dehydrated flaxseed bread. So it's gluten-free. It's dehydrated below 118 degrees, which makes it a living bread.
Indeed.
And inside is the curried cashew, avocado, a Caesar slaw, and tomato and spinach.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now let me ask you something. You have, of course, your wonderful husband, Joseph, and your children. How many children do you have?
I have 7 children.
7 children. This little thing here has 7 children.
This is the beautiful Kara. This is Marcus's other half. You guys are 2 halves of one whole, right?
That's right. We're twin flames. I feel like we're cut from this. I feel like we were one cell and we divided at birth and we found each other.
So tell the story of how you met really quickly. So it was, you guys kept like missing each other. You lived in the same city, you lived on the same street, and you never met.
That's right. He met my brother many times before he met me, and then I was walking in Home Depot once. I just saw a YouTube video for the day before, and I'm walking and I see him the next day in line in Home Depot, and I asked him, "Are you Marcus?" And he said, "Yes." And we hugged. And that was it. The rest is history. We've been together ever since.
That's how I found both of you, actually, was YouTube 2 weeks ago. And I've been researching raw foods for a while because I want to go raw, and I'm not raw yet. I've even tried to, I should dedicate a day to just being raw. So I found one of your recipes, and then I just got hooked on the 2 of you and your dynamic. And then from there, I just started finding Marcus's stuff, which is so theatrical and interesting. And then at the same time, there's a lot of truth in what he says.
Yes. I'm more of raw foods.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's shifting into the romance department because he's tired of telling people, the same thing. And, he's like, just read the books and let me move on into relationships. That's his favorite subject. My favorite subject is relationships and health.
You make a mean salad, but what's the #1 raw thing people could do every day that would be amazing for them and change their diets completely and their life completely?
Well, it depends on what type of appliances they have. I always say the easiest way to experience what raw foods can do to you is just quit eating cooked food and eat fruit salad in the morning and salads at night. You don't need any equipment for that. If you do live in a dry climate, you could take advantage of the sun in the summertime and dehydrate stuff outside. We make buckwheat and flax crackers. We just put them on the board and put it outside for 8 hours in the summertime, and it's great.
So what do you think of the people, because there's so much conflicting information, like the fruitarians, like, have you heard of Freely the banana girl?
Yeah, I have.
What do you think of Freely's whole, and her durian rider husband?
I don't know. I just think to each his own. If it, obviously it really works for her, and she wants to share what works for her with, a lot of people. I don't really know too much about what she's her thing about the 30 bananas a day. I don't know how it could be bad, bananas, but I do know overeating, even good food, is bad for you. Being fruitarian, I think you're kind of limiting yourself to a lot of other nutrients, and I think you kind of need a little more harder foods, more dense foods in your diet. But hey, if it works for fruitarians, God bless them. I do what feels good to me. And eating a fruit salad in the morning and a salad with a bunch of pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and spirulina and superfoods on top of my salad, it works for me.
It absolutely works for you, because I won't say how old you are, but it's unbelievable how old you are. And you've had a baby, and you're in shape, and you're, fully embracing and showing the anti-aging lifestyle, which is because of what you eat.
Yes. Well, I'm 45. It's mind over matter. I feel like I did when I was 16. When I was 16, I met a woman from Jamaica who was 42. And I'm like, you're 42? She looked so young. And that number was so old to me at 16. And now I'm like 45, and I'm like, my God, I'm even older than 42, and I just don't feel like that old lady or whatever, like I thought, I did when I was 16, like I thought 42-year-olds or people in their 40s are. But I just feel so good. I do cartwheels and handstands, and I jump, and I love to run. When I run to the mail, when I go get my mail, I run. And I'm like, I just don't want to stop, because I think when you stop moving, that's when you are getting into problems.
You have to take care of your body as well as your mind.
Absolutely. I've watched both my parents turn stiff because they never stretched, and stretching every day is so important that when I don't stretch, I feel my body is just, I get up, and that's when I turn into an old lady, actually. Even if I eat good food, if I don't really stretch, I start feeling 45. But stretching is so important, so important. You don't want to turn into a board when you're older. If you don't stretch, you're going to be stiff and miserable and in pain in your later years. I can't stress stretching enough.
Stretch for us right now. Am I supposed to stretch?
Oh, well.
Your abs are much better than my abs.
Mind you, Markus has in his Heal Yourself 101, he has it laid out the stretches you do. But I took ballet as younger, and you just go like this and pretend you're trying to reach for a bowl over here. And if you pull, you could feel the right here, and it's so important. Feet kind of like a foot apart. Do you feel that? If you just go like that and stretch, and then another thing, I try and go back like that. As far back as you can. When you do sit-ups, you really want to stretch your stomach right afterward, and then this stretch is very important too. This stretch, and roll back up. You don't want to go up like that. And when I'm sleeping in bed, I'll lift my legs up and do some stretches, go like this. Just whatever. I just do what feels good to my body.
So what's your favorite sport?
Listen, I love playing football. I love it. I love playing baseball. I don't like watching sports, but I love playing sports. Volleyball, I was in volleyball in high school because I was taller. They're all great. Anything active. I just got into jogging. I never jogged before, but I really loved jogging. When we were in an expo in Sherman Oaks, I would run out of the hotel and just run around all the city, just run. And it was so great. I love jogging. I love anything active.
Yeah, you like to dance too, because you...
Very much.
Did you guys go to like a lot of dance festivals?
We don't. We should a lot more. We go to a couple, and I'm still trying to get him to take me out to a night in Las Vegas to a dance club. One of the bigger ones, where there's lines around the block to get in, because I love dancing. I could dance for hours. I love when I see girls that do not know what they're doing dancing, but they don't care. And those are the girls that are having the most fun.
You got to be free.
Yeah. You shouldn't judge people, and it's bad when people judge others. It feels good to not judge people.
What's the worst food that Americans eat? Because I think it's, flour?
Yeah, I say flours. I actually think sugar, in my opinion, is the worst. They used to give sugar to livestock in the olden days to fatten them up, and all the animals started to drop dead. So people that eat sugar, it's killing us slowly with sugar because we only eat a little bit. I think that's really bad. It causes wrinkles immediately. It's so bad for you. I think sugar is the thing I stay away from the most, as well as table salt. Marcus and I have our own little container we got from the Container Store of sea salt that we take with us everywhere, and we only use that salt if we go out to restaurants to avoid the table salt, because that's really bad too. They separate the nutrients from the salt, and they sell the nutrients to vitamin companies, and they sell the salt to Morton, and it's not whole, complete, and it's causing so much damage to the body. It's scary. So sugar, salt, flour third.
I agree with you. And then hydrogenated synthetic fat.
There's so many bad things out there that we need to stay away from. I would just listen to, that God dropped us into the Garden of Eden, not into like a slaughterhouse or...
Not into the Olive Garden.
Okay, not into the Olive Garden.
It's about holistic health, emotional health, spiritual health, and physical health.
And if you treat your body well, you can hear it better. If it's not bogged down with a bunch of processed foods and toxins and stuff, you have better communication with it. When you eat something, it's giving you a stomach ache. Don't ever eat it again. Your body's telling you, I don't want that. It's bad for us. And your body is your best friend. It's the only one that will never lie to you, and it won't give you false information. So you need to really respect it and listen to it and do what it is telling you.
Better. So many vegetarians haven't made that leap. The animals, it's not a natural human instinct to eat dead flesh. So if you were on a desert island, and then I'm going to let you talk again. I know it's your radio show. Okay. I'm sorry, but
please,
I can go in.
Here you go. Please. This is interesting. We want to hear about this.
But if you were on a desert island and you hadn't eaten in 2 weeks, and you had your cat with you who's a true carnivore, they're supposed to have nothing but raw meat, your dog with you who's an omnivore who's supposed to have raw meat and vegetables, and we are fruitarians. I'm flipping my fingers around, listeners. We are fruitarians by nature, okay? So you haven't eaten in 2 weeks, and all of a sudden a dead cow appears and a bushel of apples. Where do you think your instincts would take you? That cat is going to run right to that dead cow and start chomping on it, lick up the blood, eat the eyes, the face, and everything. You'd be going, oh my God, And the dog would run to the dead cow and the apples, but you initially would go to the bushel of apples. Now, after you're there a month or two, because humans will do anything to survive, you probably start chomping on the cow too, because remember the movie where they were eating each other? Humans will do what they need to survive. Me, I'd be the one who died, because I wouldn't be able to eat a human any more than an animal, okay? Because once you get past that, your brain won't allow you to even survive to do these really bizarre things that everybody takes as normal. So it wouldn't be natural for you to go to the cow. Your instinct wouldn't say, ooh, food. Because it isn't ground up, it isn't fried, it isn't, sauced up. You just have to sink your teeth in it like a true carnivore is supposed to do. So once you get back to your natural intuition, your body starts to follow suit in your brain too. Because people don't realize half of what you're walking around with is due to this dead, rotting flesh that you're walking around with. I make a joke, most people are walking around little pet cemeteries. And you're stinking and smelling your breath and under your arms, and you're using all these other chemicals on your body. And it's just dead, rotting flesh inside of you coming out through your pores, folks. It's that simple. Now, I know I could probably be making a lot of sense to a lot of people, but you don't necessarily go from A to Z overnight, which is where my restaurants come into play. I have all raw restaurant, but I have 2 cooked vegan restaurants where we make food that you'd swear you were eating some dead animals, okay?
Right. Yeah.
And that's my gift to help people transition, to help people with a bridge. Because if you've got tapes that have been playing for a lifetime, it isn't that easy just to turn them around overnight. I didn't turn them all around overnight.
Yeah.
So my mission is just to get the word out so you start to look and do something different. You don't have to go 100% right away, but you can make some changes.
Gotcha. And speaking of looking different, you hear when people go vegan initially that they're
skin rejuvenates, right? They have fuller hair, that they have, better sleep, right? From your experience, does this happen when you see people go vegan?
Everything regenerates. Do you understand every symptom that your body is manifesting? I don't care what the symptom is, from cancer to endometriosis to Crohn's disease to hair falling out to acne. Your body is doing the most phenomenal thing in the world. It is adapting to not having the right material. This is the most adaptive thing on the planet. So if it doesn't get the right material, it does its best to evolve and adapt to all the wrong crap. But can I say that? I'm sorry. To all the wrong stuff. But it's throwing you into a position to see, excuse me, I'm not getting what I'm supposed to have, so I'm going to let your hair fall out. I'm going to give you pimples. I'm going to give you diarrhea.
It makes sense,
That's all it is.
Yeah. It makes sense. It certainly does. And then, and then when you see, obviously, so then if you're eating the right stuff, when people lose the weight, they tend to keep it off, right? I mean, this is not just a fad diet, right? I mean,
it isn't a fad or a diet at all. This is God's God's plan for us, or universe's plan. This is nothing to do with man-made, all right?
Hello there. As you know, I teach people that they create their own reality with their minds. I teach them how to create the reality that they're living in. Many spiritual teachers do. I don't have to sell you today on the benefits of creating your reality and on the benefits of manifestation. But what I am going to do is to expose you to some of the pitfalls involved with manifestation and creating your reality. The first pitfall is that when we find out that we can actually make whatever we want to be true for us become true for us, we might actually make whatever we want to be true for us become true for us. We might enter La La Land. That may not at face value sound like such a bad thing, but take a look at the downside to this. If we have not fully questioned why we want something to be true or why we want something to happen for us, we could be manifesting directly from our suppressed shadow side. I'll give you an example. One woman who was an avid manifestation practitioner, but who was also an environmentalist, started dating a man who was an off-roading enthusiast. She loved this man, but the thing that was preventing her from being close to him was that he did not seem to care about harming the environment. He was not open to changing his principal pastime, so she was in an existential crisis. She decided that to be with him, she needed to have an open mind to off-roading. So she went with him on an off-roading trip. On the trip, they ended up killing a small sapling that was in the way of their route and driving over some cryptogamic soil. She was thrown into a guilt spiral. She wanted desperately to be free of guilt, so she began to subconsciously and also consciously manifest proof that what she did wasn't all that bad. Sure enough, she was a match to a meditation experience where she saw that death must occur for anything that is created, and that the destruction of the environment is inevitable because it was created. She began to see proof that by adding to destruction, she was clearing the path for new creation, and that death could not be wrong, so inherently killing could not be wrong either. She was right. That is one perspective about destruction, but it is not the only perspective, and it is not the only truth. And it is certainly not the full objective truth. She decided to invest further in the pastime of off-roading in order to be closer to her boyfriend. Did any of that feel a bit off to you? If the answer is yes, this is why. She wanted to manifest proof that it wasn't all that bad to destroy the environment, which is what she felt like she did. But she never looked at the shadow reasons why she wanted to manifest that proof. If she had, she would have found that the first reason is that she wanted to absolve herself of guilt. She was trying to avoid that emotion within herself. The second reason is that she wanted to be closer to her boyfriend. So instead of asking for the universe to manifest those specific things for her, she went straight for trying to make what is unwanted, wanted. She was unaware completely of the shadow aspect behind why she wanted it to be okay to go off-roading. The shadow aspects must be completely unveiled for our manifestations to be completely in alignment. A serial killer can convince himself and make it true for himself that he is keeping a woman safe from an even worse fate by killing her. Does that make it objectively true? Better yet, is it actually healthy for him and to his progression to create the reality and the proof and truth behind that reality that it is in fact a good thing to kill this person because you are keeping them safe? Being able to convince yourself of anything is only as good a mental tool as it does. In order to really create will, you need to come out of denial and use the shadow to enhance the light. We need to question ourselves completely about why we want to manifest the very things that we want to manifest, especially becoming aware of the shadow aspects behind why we want the things that we want to manifest. This is our insurance policy, that we will not become the serial killer who is able to create a reality where the truth is that we're keeping someone safe by killing them. The second pitfall is that when we practice manifestation, we may be tempted to disbelieve in objective truths that we don't want to have be true for us. In other words, we go into a complete state of denial. For example, many of us don't want to believe that there is danger on this planet, but there is. Many of us don't want to believe there's radiation in the ocean, but there is. Many of us don't want to believe that there are children that are sold into sex slave practices, but they are. Many of us don't want to believe that corporations are able to sway the government, but they are. So there are a great many truths, objective truths, about our reality that many of us don't want to have be true in our subjective realities. Is there an objective truth outside of subjective truth? Yes. Everyone and everything's subjective truth combined into one big picture is objective truth. To be aware and enlightened, we need to remain open to seeing that truth. Regardless of how tempting it may be, you cannot progress on the spiritual path and live your life inside a bubble reality made only for one. This is a disconnection. If you ask to see the objective reality of Earth, you can see it. It is in fact a reality that exists. We live in a consensus reality. Even though we absolutely can create a reality that is separate from everyone else's reality, we came here to this consensus reality to co-create, not exempt ourselves from the process of co-creation. Why might I say that the opposite thing is true to someone who's in a state of victimization? Why might you hear me contradict what I have just said? It's because a person who's in a state of victimization is in a state of powerlessness where they have no idea that they create their own reality. So by telling them to quit focusing on the objective reality, to only care about their subjective reality and start creating what they want to create and using their emotional system to do that, we are helping them line up with the improvement in their life. But the truth doesn't stop there. Ask yourself these questions. Is it a virtue to disconnect from the consensus reality to the degree that you are not even experiencing the same things as anyone else? If so, why? If not, why? How do we maintain a view of objective reality while living in our own subjective realities? You could ask, why is it important to see what is there if it is unpleasant? I will tell you that awareness is the answer. Consciousness is the answer. When we discovered how to create our own reality, we were not meant to create our own reality by willingly becoming ignorant. I will tell you that it's important to open your eyes up to all that there is, to the full picture, the light and the dark side of the full picture. What causes many of us pain is that our eyes are closed to the light half, not that we see the dark. Likewise, what causes many of us pain is that our eyes are closed to the dark half, not that our eyes are open to the light. We need to expand on this idea how create your own reality can lead you straight into the pitfall of denial. Mankind is one of the species that is the most objectively self-aware. This has its upsides and its downsides. One upside is, with such a strong sense of self, enlightenment is often realized in human form. A downside is, with such a strong sense of self, there is strong motivation to have a positive sense of self and world. This means anything about the self or world that is perceived as negative is often denied. The human consciousness becomes unaware of negativity because we've developed so many belief systems about negativity being not okay. The minute we make something not okay, we make it not okay to see, not okay to acknowledge, not okay to exist. We can't even admit to its existence and remain good. We must think we are good to such a degree that we cannot open up our vision wide enough to recognize aspects of ourself that are out of alignment. Denial prevents us from moving forward because we can't even admit to what we need to move forward from. Denial is so much a part of the human consciousness. Since our species gained the ability to objectively conceptualize of identity, the denial is now a self-preservation function of the human brain. Denial is a defense mechanism. It is the consciousness trying to protect itself from itself. Why are we unable to admit to the obvious truths that we see? Instead of saying that, I should say, why is it that when we're in denial, we are incapable of seeing obvious truths? The reason is that the ego is set up to protect itself from things that it thinks will destroy it. For example, if we are attached to the idea of being the best mother, we usually develop extreme resistance to the idea of not being a good mother. We feel as if we cannot cope with the possibility that we are not a good mom. This is where denial kicks in. The ego protects you from objectively seeing yourself because of the potential of pain. It sweeps the time that you were a bad mother under the rug, so you have no conscious access to them. It only allows you to selectively remember the times when you were a good mom. You have stopped seeing the truth of yourself objectively. Your reality now consists only of what you want to believe. You have whitewashed over everything unsightly. A great many manifestation experts would tell you, good, because your reality should only exist of what you want to believe is true. But I do not agree. I think your reality should consist of things you want to make true for yourself and beliefs that do work for you, whilst being acutely aware that other truths, and equal truths, do exist in this world. Many of our spiritual practices are not in fact spiritual practices. They're just excuses to not see and not feel things. This is spiritual bypassing, which I'm going to be touching on later because it's the next point. Selective focus for the purpose of manifestation is not the same thing as denial, but selective focus for the purpose of manifestation serves as a very good excuse to go into a state of denial. By encouraging someone to bypass, deny, or suppress, we are encouraging them, in fact, to resist. We need to allow and explore whatever we feel the need to deny, even if it's just a possibility. A very common thing to see in the manifestation community is that people put a positive spin on absolutely everything. Now, while this particular technique is a super beneficial tool, which can not only help you to prevent yourself from getting stuck in negative states, but it can also show you a more objective version of reality behind why things happen like they happen. The downside to this, though, is that we can use this positive spin technique to avoid the hell out of anything negative. That's when this technique starts to take on its shadow aspect. When we do this, we are using positive focus as an anesthetic. It is symptom relief. It is not real and lasting change. Our car broke down because we're meant to see the pretty sunrise. We're smoking pot because it expands our consciousness. It's good that our friend stabbed us in the back because she really needed to find her own power. It was good that I had the mom I had with all of her addictions because it helped me to find myself. There is a big difference between creating the kind of world we would prefer, which involves admitting to the full truth of how the world is currently for us, and instead covering a murder scene with yellow paint so it doesn't feel so bad. So my question for you is, are you manifesting an improved world for yourself and others, or are you manifesting yellow paint? The third pitfall is spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is when we use spiritual practices, concepts, or beliefs in order to avoid or deny or suppress our painful feelings, our unresolved wounds, or our actual developmental needs. Rather than preach at you about this particular concept, I'm just going to suggest that you go watch my video on YouTube titled Spiritual Bypassing. But while we're on this particular subject, I'm going to tell you that there has never been, in the history of our world, any belief which opened the door for spiritual bypassing more than create your own reality. The fourth pitfall of manifestation is that it can allow you to step into a super judgmental state, which is completely lacking empathy and completely lacking compassion, where you keep telling yourself that people are bringing painful experiences onto themselves, so at some level they must deserve it or want it. I'm not going to go easy on this. How many times have you heard things like this in the manifestation community? Well, they're just attached to their pain. Well, they're just attached to their story. It's just their ego. They created cancer for themselves. They're choosing to be depressed and focus negatively right now. They created poverty. They could just as easily change their mind and create something different. Regardless of how true any of those previous statements might be in the objective sense, it is easy to convince yourself that people either want to experience the painful things they're experiencing, or that they're ignorant to creating their own reality, and that's why they're experiencing painful things. This is a disconnection in and of itself from others. It is, in fact, the spiritual version of piousness. Just because someone is a match to cancer because of thoughts or childhood pain doesn't mean they deserve the cancer, and doesn't mean that the cancer is not real. It also does not mean that they are deliberately, consciously choosing it. Much of what occurs in people occurs subconsciously, and to act like it is just a matter of attachment to pain or stubbornness or ignorance that makes someone create negative experiences in their reality makes you someone who is not fun to be around. Just because you know that you create your own subjective reality that feels good to you all the time does not mean that others who do not currently know that or who have not perfected the art are less evolved or less spiritual, or are choosing to be attached to their pain or egos. In other words, the fourth pitfall is the risk of invalidating people, trivializing people's experiences, and losing compassion by becoming an egotistical, holier-than-thou manifester. The fifth pitfall of manifestation is the complete and total avoidance of negativity. When we find out that we create our own reality, it's a very logical step for us to take to the place where we are now completely unwilling to acknowledge anything negative. I can't think anything negative. I can't pay attention to anything negative. I can't say anything negative. I can't do anything negative. And now we're trapped in a state where we are in a perpetual state of resistance to anything and everything that we might decide is negative. When we teach people to create their reality by following their emotional guidance system, it does a very good thing. It enables people to use their own feelings as an indication as to what they need to be focused on or doing in order to create the reality that they want. But we do run the risk of educating people to do anything they can to avoid their negative emotions, or anything that causes them to feel negative emotions, which was not the point at all. The sixth pitfall is that critical thinking, not to be confused with criticism, goes out the window. The baby gets thrown out with the bathwater. Critical thinking is the act of awakening the intellect to the study of itself. It's an open-minded state. Critical thinking allows us to see as many viewpoints as possible so that we can make the best decision when it comes to manifestation. A great many teachers who teach Create Your Own Reality don't believe in critical thinking, because they of course know that anything you believe, you will manifest as proof. So you can't then look at that manifested proof that is the result of a belief and say that it definitively makes something true. Even so, I think our capacity for critical thinking actually makes us better manifestors. The seventh pitfall is that we are never in the present moment when we're constantly focused on what we want to create or what is coming. We are never in a state of stillness or in a state of peace. We never really truly experience the nowness of life or how the nowness of life feels. We're never really present with ourselves. When we are using the unwanted to move towards the wanted, we are in a state of perpetual movement, always after the next best thing. This can be a kind of suffering in and of itself. Now, if you can't come fully into the now and be fully present with yourself, you also can't come fully into now and be unconditionally present with someone else. So one of the pitfalls of Create Your Own Reality is the inability to develop intimacy. If we are living only for what's coming, and if we're living our lives from a la-la reality bubble, we will never truly connect with other people, and we run the risk of creating a reality for ourselves where we do not relate to them, and they do not relate to us. In my opinion, we need to practice the state of mindfulness in the present moment in tandem with the practice of manifestation, so that we're not using manifestation as an excuse to escape ourselves in the present moment exactly as we are. We need to develop the capacity to be unconditionally present with ourselves. Anything short of this is self-abandonment. If you are interested in expanding on this particular concept or pitfall, I suggest watching my YouTube videos titled Spirituality 2.0 and Spirituality 3.0. Even the most exquisite spiritual methodologies can become traps of unconsciousness. As frustrating as it might be to navigate this minefield of nuance and this minefield of contradictions which are in fact complementary, this art form which you are practicing of creating your own reality is in fact your ticket to realigning with the awareness of yourself as an eternal creator. For those of you who can practice the in-alignment form of creating your reality, whilst not falling into the pitfalls that are so common with creating your own reality, you will learn how to be the manifestation of Source Consciousness, who is actually sculpting the very reality that you live in. Have a good week.
Here at the Saturday Market in Coconut Grove, Florida with Stan the Man. Ta-da! Give us a drum roll or something, Amos. All right, we got applause.
The one and only, no autographs, please. Stan.
We couldn't do this, of course. You see all the beautiful scenery about, but we couldn't do this without Stan. He is the originator. He's the one that started the Glazer Farm. Stan, tell us how long. When did you start? We have on the other video health alternatives interviews. We have that, and you talk all about the organic and all that stuff. But you never told me, and we talked about the market, how long you've been doing that. So we won't go through that. But tell us, when did you start Glazer Farm? Down in, what area is that?
Down in, I don't know what they call it, but we still have the address in Miami, but it's South Miami Heights. Or the Redlands. It's the Redlands. It's a farming.
Redlands, whatever. But when did you start it?
Well, I mean, it didn't start like, ta-da, here it is. It started maybe 1979. 1979. And it's been going here or there. Well, it's been growing.
Yeah, it's been growing.
I mean, it started, I was living in a tent, and I had a vehicle which I went out and accumulated stuff and sold it at the farmer's market, and you know, it was on a much different scale.
Well, you know, the whole thing is it's growing, and it continues to do so, and it's just so wonderful. This ambiance and everything, the bouillons, I mean, if people are here enjoying themselves, eating and playing, I even see dogs out here. Everybody's getting a little into the veganism. But like I said, we could not do this without including you, Stan.
Well,
I'm going to go talk to your better half.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to talk to your better half, Tracy. Yes, and you go on and do what you're doing and continue to be Stan the Man.
Thanks.
Now, although Tracy was not here at the onset of the farm, she came in like gangbusters. And, of course, she's Stan's better half. But like so many women do, she made things better. All of the food that's enjoyed by young and mature people alike from all over at the Saturday Coconut Grove Market, who's responsible for that? In the kitchen, Tracy is in charge of that, among other things, of course. And she is the one who is responsible for all of the food stuff that's done, the ice cream, everything. She has a kitchen set up, and hey, it's Tracy. Okay, here we have the better half, all right? We got Stan the Man, and this is Stan the Man's better half, okay? So I know Stan said since 1979 that he started out with the Glazer Farm. You weren't there at the very beginning. How long have you been involved with Stan the Man?
25 years now.
That's like a lifetime, folks. So, hey, and let me tell you this, everything that you've seen out here, this one is responsible for it. All the food stuff that you see, they're her ideas. She is the one who does it all, okay? She trains people. They have a kitchen down on the farm. They have stuff growing and all of that. But everything that you see, food-wise, this woman here is the one who has made it possible. Now, I want to ask you another question.
Yes.
Don't you have a class that you give?
We do. The classes will probably start next January.
Okay, next January. So you'll be showing people how to prepare
raw foods, yeah.
Delicious, mouth-watering,
They have to be delicious or people won't eat them.
Of course. You know, I always say, I say on my DVD, Annette's Raw Kitchen, that you grab them first with a visual, but then it's got to taste good.
It's got to taste fantastic.
Okay.
It's got to be great. Fresh made, vibrant, energy. I mean, that's what makes you feel good. That's what makes you healthy. That's what it responds to you. As you eat certain foods, you respond. So depending on what you eat, your body will respond. So if we can notice what's happening, if we can see what's happening, and then go towards that which gives us health, happiness, that food is fresh, that food is raw, that food is vibrant, it comes out of the ground, it grows off of trees, it comes from a root, a leaf, a branch. These foods are, from a farming point of view, they don't have to have anything done to them. You wash them, you cut them, you might do a little blending a little bit, but that's it. And then you put it out for the public. And if these things go with other things, people will find what's good for them. They'll put the combinations together. They'll put the dressings and the sprouted nut pate together on a little flaxseed cracker. They'll put that together. We do it for them,
yes,
to give them ideas.
Of course.
But then they can buy it separately and take it all home. They can copy us if they want, which we love.
Of course.
Or they can buy it. It doesn't matter where they buy their food as long as they're eating fresh and healthy like this, because it's going to give them vibrance and healthy mind, body, soul.
Indeed. And you know, I noticed that a lot of young people, you have a lot of young people working for you at the farm and working here at the Saturday market.
We don't really advertise. They kind of just find us. And they're just good-hearted folks that want to be a part of it. So I don't really have to advertise. They just want to work here. So it's easy. They just walk up to us and say, hey, can I work here?
But don't you think it's great, though, that these young people are becoming vegan, and enjoying the food and loving it and growing into the fold?
Yeah, and not doing it on their own.
Yeah.
You know, noticing how great things are when they eat like this, or when they're a part of something very positive. And then they can talk to other people and share their knowledge with other people, and then those people, they get to know each other, and then we get more and more customers, and then the customers know the cashiers and know the people that work here, and so it's a real community kind of farmers market.
And I have to tell you, like I said to Stan, the bouillons, the environment, the ambiance, everything is so wonderful. It's a meeting place. It's a place for people to enjoy and learn about health and all that. And you know, of course, I get people calling me and emailing me from all over the world, and when anybody's coming down to Miami, guess where I tell them to come?
Gosh, Annette, thank you.
Of course.
That's so sweet.
Why wouldn't I?
You're inspiring so many people, Annette.
This is the place to be, though.
I know, but without you out there, fanning the flame of the fire and inspiring people, you're doing so much in that.
All right, we're going to we're joining the Mutual of Admiration Society, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so Tracy, you have a store at the farm now, right?
Yes, we have a store on the property now. It's a little easier for people to have at least 2 locations that they can buy directly from us. They can buy from other health food stores because we do sell wholesale. It's sometimes a little bit more expensive, but it's a lot more convenient because you can just go to your local health food store and usually get that. But you can buy from us on the farm Monday through Saturday from 11 to 7 on the property. But this farmer's market's been going on for over 30 years. It used to be over there, now it's over here.
Yeah, and it's fabulous. We talked to Stan about that on the Health Alternative interviews. So it was started over there, and I've been going and coming ever since that time when it first started over there.
I don't remember what year it started, maybe 1980 or something.
Whatever it was there, and it's going, and this is just so beautiful. It feels so great to be here with you, Tracy.
I've seen kids grow up, and people get married and get pregnant, have kids, and it's amazing.
Well, that's great, and darling, it is just so wonderful to be with you here today. Like I said, this time I get the better half.
You're
all right?
so sweet.
Give me a hug.
Okay.